Welcome back to another daily video. In today's video, we're taking a look at the 2019 Ford Ranger. Huge thanks to Mooresville Ford for providing this truck for me today. I'll have a link to their website down in the description below. They're starting to get in a ton of 2019 models. The model that we're looking at today is the Super Crew XLT. It's finished off in lightning blue metallic with an MSRP just over $34,000. Under the hood is a 2.3 liter EcoBoost 4-cylinder engine, and this is only paired to the 10-speed automatic transmission. This engine produces 270 horsepower at 5,500 RPM and 310 pound-feet of torque at 3,000 RPM. It is rear-wheel drive. You can get the optional four-wheel drive. It weighs between 4,000 and 4,500 pounds, depending on the cab and bed size that you go with. And with a fuel capacity of 18 gallons, you can expect to see 21 miles per gallon in the city and 26 on the highway. The wheelbase measures 126.8 inches. It has an overall length of 211 inches. The width is 86 and it has a height of 72 inches. Ground clearance measures at 8.4 inches. It has an approach angle of 28.7 degrees, a breakover angle of 21.5 degrees, and a departure angle of 25.4 degrees. Starting up front, this truck comes with halogen headlights along with LED daytime running lights and fog lights in the lower section of the bumper. Moving to the top grille, it's finished off with carbon black mesh and a silver surrounding it, along with Ranger written out in the top section. Moving down below, there's more color contrasting between the silver and brushed aluminum, giving the front bumper a nice look. There's a large cutout in the center to provide even more cooling to the engine. This has 2 front tow hooks along with 4 parking sensors. There's a lower air dam to help improve with aerodynamics. And then finishing up with the hood, it has a nice dome shape to it to provide even more aerodynamics and help with the overall aggressive look of the front end. Moving to the side, this truck features the 17-inch machined black alloy wheels with a nice double 6-spoke design to them. 4-wheel disc brakes are on all 4 corners. The mirrors are finished off in black, and you can see the Ranger XLT badge just below that. The fender flares are also finished off in that nice silver to give it a good contrast against the blue. And then moving to the lower side of the bed, you can see there's a nice fin design, again to help improve with the aerodynamics. And finishing up in the rear with the standard backup camera, which is nicely hidden underneath the Ford logo, along with 4 parking sensors in the lower section of the bumper. This has LED taillights, a lockable tailgate with Ranger spelled out in the lower section. It has a Class 2 towing hitch with the capabilities to tow up to 7,500 pounds, along with a 1,700 pound payload capacity. And it features a single exit side exhaust. So that finishes up the exterior walk around on the 2019 Ford Ranger. Brian actually reviewed a Lariat a couple weeks ago, and he's in the back there reviewing a new Raptor as well. So this is much different than the Lariat that he checked out. I'll have that down in the description below. The Sport that we're looking at today is just a 2-wheel drive version. So this is my first time actually checking out this truck, and I really like it. The blue on this truck looks really nice, along with all of the brushed aluminum accents. It has a really nice sleek design to it. It's not over aggressive or anything like that. And now with the key, we'll go ahead and check out the interior. This model does have the traditional turn key to it, but if you double tap on the lock button and double tap just below that, it will automatically start up, and then you can just double tap that again to shut it off. The door panel is finished off in black. You have nice cloth on the top along with leather on the lower section. Your driver window is automatic up and down. There's more brushed aluminum on the release handle and the trim piece around that, along with your lock and unlock. This has a 6-speaker audio sound system with a little bit of storage space behind that. Moving inside now to the cloth seats. They have silver stitching running down the bolsters, a nice insert running in the middle of them. They feature a 4-way power adjustability with lumbar support, along with manual recline. Once inside, we're greeted with a fully wrapped black leather steering wheel with more of the gray stitching running around the inside of it. On the right, you have all of the audio controls along with your Bluetooth hands-free controls. You have a home button and a settings button down below that. On the left is all of the cruise control settings, and these buttons here will control the center screen. Looking at the gauge setup, you can see the tach and engine temperature to the left side. You have your speedometer and fuel gauge on the right. And now using those buttons, looking through the menu, you can see trip 1 and trip 2. That'll just show you your average speed, your distance till empty, along with obviously your trip and how long you've been in the vehicle. You have your average MPG, and you can see all of those screens together. We can go down to fuel economy, and again, you'll see your distance till empty, along with your lifetime fuel economy and your average, along with your history and your speed. You have your driver assistance, so you can turn on and off your blind spot, your cross traffic, and other technology features like that. You can see tire pressure, and you have a trailer sway control. Going into settings now, into vehicle, you can control a lot of different things like your lighting, your locks. You can configure what you'd like to control with the remote start. So when you turn on the vehicle, how long will it be on? You can adjust the seats if you want the heated seats on, where you'd like the climate control to start, so that way it is ready by the time you get to the vehicle. You have a key setting as well, and then going into your different displays, so showing your temperature, your tire pressure. To the left of the steering wheel, you have the bed light along with the headlights and fog light controls. The side mirror controls are just above that, along with one air vent. There's a little bit of storage space above that, and now we'll take a look at the 4.2-inch display screen. You can see you have 3 different settings that you can have on the screen, like your audio, the compass. You can add something if you'd like to. There's also the heated seat controls below that. But on the bottom is basically all of your home screen settings, so those are fixed. You have audio, climate, phone, apps, and settings. So going into climate now, everything is very touch sensitive, so it's very responsive. You can see you have dual zone climate. You can turn it on and off on the top there. This also has a sync feature, so just by pushing on that, they will both go back to the same temperature. Going into menu, there's a couple other different settings, along with being able to adjust the heated seats again. Auto is on the top left there, and then moving over, we have the phone. You have some apps to go into, and then all of your different settings. So you can configure your clock and Bluetooth. You have your phone, there's some general information. We can scroll over to vehicle and display. You have voice controls you can go into, along with a valet mode. And then if we go back, this has the Ford Pass Connect. So you have 4G Wi-Fi capabilities in this vehicle. Around that center screen, there's more of that brushed aluminum to give it a really nice look, and that continues over to the passenger side. You can see Ranger spelled out. Gives it a really cool look, along with 2 air vents to each side of that. Moving down below, you have the volume and power for the radio, along with tuning on the right side. More controls in the middle, and then below that you have physical buttons for the AC. So instead of going into the screen itself, you have the temperature for both driver and passenger, along with the fan speed in the middle, more recirc buttons below that, along with on and off. And then to each side of that, you have the heated seats. Moving down below, there are 2 12 volts, along with 2 USBs and a good amount of storage space. And then to the left of that, you can turn on and off the engine start-stop feature, along with traction control, the parking sensors, and there is a trailer towing mode. Moving to the shifter now, if I just pull the trigger on the front, we can go ahead and put it into reverse. You'll see the backup lines appear, and they do turn with the steering wheel as well. And then I can put it all the way down into S mode and use the plus and minus on the side to be able to shift through all 10 gears. And you can see that pop up on the left side of that screen. Behind that, there are 2 cup holders along with the manual parking brake. Looking at the center console now, you can see it has a unique front design to it, giving the driver a little bit more of an armrest. And then pulling up on the latch underneath that will open it up. You can see there's quite a lot of room in the center console. Moving over to the glove box, you have a lot more room. We'll take another look at these cloth seats. They have a very nice design to them. And then up top is your sunglass holder along with the dome lights. Now it's time to take a look at the rear seating, and the door panel is finished off just like up front. You have some cup holder storage space in the lower section, along with more of that silver and brushed aluminum trim pieces. This is a 5-seater truck, so let's go ahead and hop in. Starting in the center, there are 2 USBs along with a 3-prong outlet. You have a little bit of a storage shelf above that. And then talking about legroom now, I have the front seat set at my height. I have a couple inches in front of my knees, and then you can see about 4 or 5 inches above my head. So you actually have a decent amount of room in the back seats. The back of the seat itself is reclined just a little bit to give you a little more comfort. Pulling down the center armrest here, you have 2 more cup holders, so there's a total of 4 cup holders in the back. You have a manual adjusting rear glass. As far as storage space goes for the back seats, if you pull on this tab, one on the driver's side, there's one on the passenger side too. You can lock the seat into place there, and you'll reveal a cubby storage pocket on both the driver and passenger side. So you have a nice amount of hidden storage space with the seat up. That gives you a little bit more versatility to store any larger items. And then you can pull on this tab right here to take the backrests forward, and you have a little bit more storage space. And then with the headrests out of the way, you can fold these seats completely flat. So you do have some versatility in the back seats here. And now moving on to the bed. If you get the full 4 doors, it offers a 5-foot bed. You can get a different cab configuration to get the 6-foot bed. But walking up to the back, it has a very light tailgate both to open and to close. It has a metal bed which gives it the durability and the structure to be able to have such a high payload capacity. And it has 4 tow hooks running on each side of the bed there. So getting the Ranger out on the road now, as I mentioned earlier, Brian drove the Lariat version of this, so that will be down in the description below if you want to check out that model. But this is my first time being behind the wheel of the Ranger, and first impressions, I really like it. So far, it's a pretty comfortable ride. I have no complaints with that. It's absorbing bumps very well. I like that the suspension is not stiff, but it doesn't feel floating, like it's floating at the same time. It has a nice comfortable medium to it. While this truck does have some off-road capabilities, if you get the FX4 package and four-wheel drive, it has a really nice on-road performance as well. So you're not sacrificing anything by having some of those options. I can see this being a good daily driver. Taking a bump like that, you could hardly feel it. So this is a truck that's going to be geared more towards almost like a work truck. You're going to be on the road more. You're going to be towing and hauling with it. Since it has a very impressive towing capacity for a 2.3 liter EcoBoost 4-cylinder at around 7,500 pounds. That's very impressive. That's a lot more than some other V6 trucks. But again, going back to the ride, the seats are equally as comfortable. I like the cloth on them. There's a little bit of a bolster around your thighs, so they hold you in place. I like that while there are a lot of buttons on the steering wheel too, they're not hard to use. You have basically 4 groups. One for the center gauge screen. You have all of your cruise control, then all of your radio, and some other hands-free and Bluetooth controls. So they're actually laid out very well, even though there are quite a lot of buttons just on the steering wheel. But that kind of takes away from buttons that are in the center. You basically have your center screen there, and then a couple AC buttons just underneath that. So I like the fact that they've put more on the steering wheel, so that way you don't have to take your hands off the steering wheel, but at the same time you have a nice clean center setup as well. Moving on to the general visibility, it's what you would expect for a mid-size pickup. The A-pillars are very thin, so you have good forward-facing visibility, and then with the glass being pretty much right behind you there, it's easy to see over your left and right shoulder. Trucks really don't have many blind spots, if any, but you do have the backup camera, which I find very helpful in driving my own personal pickup truck. It just helps with backing into tight areas. You can get close to something. So I'm going to give this truck a little bit of gas, and we'll see how the EcoBoost 4-cylinder performs here. So nothing crazy, about half throttle there. Wow. I'm very impressed. A lot of people do not like the fact that they went to a 2.3 liter EcoBoost 4-cylinder, but honestly, you have a lighter engine, you have a better performing engine, and you get better MPG. That's pretty impressive for a pickup truck. Give it a little bit more gas here. It's not crazy quick, you know, it's a pickup truck, it's not a sports car, but I have no complaints with that. Being a smaller engine, you're not sacrificing anything. In fact, you're getting even more, like I just mentioned, with the towing, better fuel economy, a smaller and lighter weight engine. I'm very impressed with a 4-cylinder in this truck. Coming around a turn now, we'll just check out the body roll. It's a pretty stiff truck going around those turns. Like I mentioned earlier, it's not floating or feels like it's doing that or anything. It's a stiff suspension, it handles turns well. Talking about the interior materials now, I really like everything on the inside. It has a nice premium feel to it. You have nice brushed aluminum around the center screen. It's above the airbag on the passenger side there. Nice leather wrapped steering wheel. There's more leather on the shifter. And then touching on the back space room just a little bit here, I like the fact that you can fit full-size adults in the back seat. For a pickup truck, normally they're kind of cramped seats, but you have a decent amount of legroom and headroom at the same time. Well, that is going to do it for today's video. A full walk-around review and test drive of the 2019 Ford Ranger. Huge thanks again to Mooresville Ford for providing this truck for me today. I'll have a link to their website down in the description below. If you guys enjoyed today's video, give it a thumbs up, smash that subscribe button, and I'll see you next video.